BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle and the mighty Trigon make their Jacksonville, Florida debut on Friday, June 14th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center for BYB 27, Brawl in Duval. BYB Featherweight World Champion Harold Lightning McQueen begins his quest for more gold when he faces off against the untamable one, John Bernard, in a lightweight title eliminator fight. Plus, it's a rematch, a grudge match, a year and a half in the making, when Red Sonja Dryland looks to avenge her London loss over 600 days ago to the Red Queen, Jamie Driver. Don't miss all the action. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
Welcome to the Original Fighter's Voice. I'm your host, Don Mcguire. As you can see, I have the bare knuckle goat, my homie, Helen Peralta. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. How are you?
Besides it being hot and them canceling my surgery last week and then approving it, I'm kind of good with it. You know, I know people are probably going, that commercial didn't have Peralta on it. But see, the way BYB is going right now is we have so many fights since the acquisition and the transition. It's like we're already starting on 28 and we haven't even accomplished 27. And because every fight is like 3 weeks apart from here until the end of the year, and it's going to get more and more. How does it feel for Helen Peralta now, knowing that you have such a vast amount of fighters that were just now added to the BYB roster?
It makes me feel really good. You know, I always felt like, especially when it came to bare knuckle, because even though it's one of the oldest sports, it kind of became one of the newest in a way, you know, ironically. So seeing, you know, more people being added and stuff like that, it just makes me really excited and really happy about the future when it comes to bare knuckle fighting. It means that things are moving in the right direction. And the fact that I'm not even on the intro, that means that they're not going for clout. They're focusing on the fighters. They're doing the thing on that night, and that's what you want from a promotion. So I'm actually pretty pleased with it.
Yeah, so am I. I think it's a great deal, and I had Mike and Greg on the other night, and they were talking about they want to build a glass house because they want people to see what they're doing. They want people to see that they're doing it right. They don't want anything, you know, anybody to say anything negative about them. And like Mike said, don't do that. I'll get my cervical spine fixed pretty soon. That hurts. But
I just came from sparring.
Well, I feel you. But like Mike said, he wants to build a glass house for the family and the fighters for 50 to 60 years from now. That's the first time I've ever heard a promoter say that. What does it make a fighter like yourself, Helen? How does that make you feel, knowing that the promoter's not making something shiny to sell it, that he truly cares, and 50, 60 years from now, he truly wants to still hold on to that promotion?
It makes me feel less crazy, if that makes sense, because I always think that you should never try to promote something that you don't believe in it. So when I see someone that's promoting something that they believe in it, it makes me feel less crazy, you know, because I'm one of those people. Like I actually had like a fallout with a couple of people lately. And I was like, is it me? And then I was like, oh, no. It's just because they didn't really believe in what they were saying they believe in it, you know, and I don't know how to deal with that. And it could be, I mean, it's a great characteristic to have, but it could be detrimental because you have to adapt to society nowadays. And society nowadays, everybody has such a short-term attention span. And people are so superficial that's kind of become the norm right now. So when you hear that, for you, it's something to like mention because it's memorable. Well, for me, it's not memorable because that's how I think everything should be all the time.
Yeah, I feel you. Man, I didn't even know people were already commenting. I'm just so stoked because finally you get the fight that you've always wanted. You know, I seen that bet. We talked about it earlier. I seen that bet. You know, saying, you know, you told her something about $1,000, and she said for $1,000 you couldn't even knock her down. What does that do in the heart of Helen Peralta? I know because I know who you are as a warrior, but let the fans know what created this aspect, and how do you feel about this situation?
I only threw that in there because you say nobody ever knocks me down, and I put $1,000, and I know it's not a lot of money, but that's why I did it. Because here's the thing: you should never aim for something you don't have. You should only put on the line things you don't care to lose. That's how I live my whole life. Everything that I do in my whole life, I don't care to lose it at any time. So $1,000 is easy to lose because it's nothing, and that's
Yeah.
why it's so low. Because it's literally nothing. It's just a point. It's just like a interest. It's just like a little, kind of like a side joke between me and my opponent. It's not a big deal. But you should never bank on something bigger that you can have. But because of social media nowadays, people are always thinking so much higher than when they are, because they're being convinced that they're supposed to be this thing that they're not. So when I put the bet out there, it's just because I know I'm going to knock her down. And it's called a knockdown in her head. But in my head, it's a lot more than that, because she won't be able to get up.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a question I was going to ask you. You know, her and Patty Juarez have had quite a few wars. You've had an opportunity to sit back, look at their capabilities, their abilities. Were you impressed with what Medina brought to the fight with Juarez?
I was impressed with the fact that she was able to keep Patty from fighting, and that means like some people are like really unorthodox. Like, for example, Strickland. It's like it doesn't look like a lot when you're looking at it,
Yeah.
but it is, because they make the other person not be able to do what they want to do. So we did think about it in my camp. It's like, okay, there's a reason why none of the girls are fighting. So, because literally I watched all three fight, and neither of them were actually really fighting when you think about it. And you think about the damage and the fact that they all went to decision. Like, if you go to a decision in a bare knuckle fight and you can still take a photo and look pretty, was it even a fight? Like, I don't know. I don't want to be cocky. I know every fighter posts a lot of like danger and stuff, but when I was watching the fights, I was making notes, not just for her, but for both sides, because I love food. So Patty and I might meet each other in the future anyway. It's just because maybe I just have too many. I eat healthy food, but I eat a lot of it because I don't like going out, so I get bored, and all I do is like eat. So I was watching both sides of the fight. So Patty, she's got pillow hands. She's never been able to make Medina bleed. And Medina has like sharp knuckles. Either that or Patty has a soft face. I don't know. It's really hard to tell when it comes to bare knuckle. But at the end of the day, like, I didn't see anything impressive. But I am trying to give them all of my respect, because I need that in order to train hard.
Yeah. Now I saw their fight in Denver. I saw the trilogy, and Patty won her belt back. This is for the BYB Featherweight strap. So this is an actual opportunity for you to come up. I know you in the past, and I know how you fight, and I know you don't like to lose, and I know you work your ass off to get where you need to be. Do you see anything in Medina as a warrior that will stop you from retaining the BYB Featherweight strap?
Not that it will stop me, but here's the thing. This is an exercise that I do before every fight. Is that I always try to, anything that my opponent does well, I try to go and train times 10, because that makes me being prepared. So I'm not surprised. So whatever she did on her best day, I'm thinking about it. I'm training for it times 10. So when I think about it times 10, it means that she can take a shot, she can give it back, but she doesn't move her fucking head. Like, dude, like, get that out of the way, because I'm not that good of a boxer, but I hit like a fucking truck. And if you get hit with one of those hooks, I went to spar the other day. I came back the next day, and my coach was says, like, I heard you drop people. I was like, me? I didn't even remember, because I was so tired. I was a little hangover that day. It was a Sunday, and I was a little hangover. I didn't remember. And he's like, no, I heard you drop 2 people. I'm like, how? Like, I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, no. I'm like, no, it wasn't my fault, coach. They ran into it. It's like, that's ridiculous. They ran into it. I'm sorry. But they were all men, and they were all big guys, whatever. But, like, seriously, you don't want to get hit with one of those. She doesn't move her head. So, like, I do give her a lot of respect. in general as a human being. She sounds really cool. She sounds like someone I could be like even friends with. I had an interview with her earlier. So it's someone that I feel like, you know, like she's a real human being, but at the same time, she's getting in the way of what I want. And I'm pretty sure she feels the same way. So I do not feel bad for wanting to, you know, annihilate her, because I'm pretty sure she dreams about doing the same to me. And it's mutual. So as long as it's a mutual feeling, we're all good, girl.
Well, you know, I saw the show, and you're right. You guys did seem like you had some camaraderie going on, but I also know Helen Peralta. You know, how hard has it been, Helen? You know, and a lot of people are going to say, Don, you're going to go deep on this, but we go back to your fight with Christine Ferreira, and I know we talked about it on our last interview, but still to this day, Helen Peralta is the only one that's been able to beat Christine Ferreira. How much of a headache, hindrance, or a tremendous aspect has that fight put into Helen Peralta's life?
It was actually more hindrance than anything else, because a lot of time I've been wanting to like fight all the girls, and because of that fight, they look at it and then they say no, and I'm like, dude, I'm a beginner. I can't be more than a beginner unless I get more experience. So that fight actually kept me away from getting more experience, because everybody's looking at it like you beat the best in the world, so we don't want to fight you. But I'm like, I'm not that. Like, maybe I was that day. But she's really good, and you know, I don't have any shame in talking. When it comes to martial arts, like I don't have any ego. I think Christine is really good, and she can be the best any day. It's just like when I'm there, it's different. You know, if I show up, it's different. But if I'm not there, she's always gonna be the best. And I keep telling people, I'm like, it doesn't mean I'm not that good just because I beat her. It just means that day I was the best. But every day is different. You know, like life goes on. But because of that fight, that actually took away from me instead of giving me anything. I didn't gain anything from that fight at all, except for people turning me down and for me not getting the experience that I need.
Well, yeah, because you're the only one that's beat her since. Nobody's beat her after you, you know, and so of course that hinders your path in the sport, because everybody goes, well, she beat Christine. I don't want to fight her. She's the best in the world. Well, you know what? If you want to be an athlete and if you want to succeed, you got to do like Helen did. Me and Helen go way back to Invicta and probably a little bit before that. But I've always loved your ideology, the way you train, the way the gym time. You enjoy being by yourself, and I think that's tremendous, because I've watched your training videos. I've never seen anybody work out in a gym as long as you do, and I think your work ethic is second to none. I'm not saying that because we're friends, but you work your ass off, and I don't see too many people in this industry do that anymore. You remind me of a fighter from the era when I came up, that dedication, perseverance paid off in the end. A lot of these guys get to 4 or 5 fights and they want to be a world champion, and it just doesn't happen that way for us old school guys. But I'm going to get to a couple of these comments real quick. Chris Shaggy Gonzalez says, hi, I'm here first. He's fighting on the same. He's fighting on the, I think, either this card or the same card as you. He's a fighter on BYB.
Okay.
And then a good brother of mine from Canada, Brian Holderson, says, good evening. Another brother of mine from Canada, they call him Little Holmes, Paul Driscoll. He says, hello, Don and Helen, good evening. And then Chris says again, have my mind and right ready for Jacksonville. So he will be fighting on the Jacksonville card.
Oh, okay.
And then my adopted grandfather, he says, Don is on, and he says, hello, Helen. And then Chris says, I think Alani Mota will be tough contender in the female division. What's your thoughts on Mota? Weren't you supposed to fight her last time?
What's that? Is that a female?
Oh, yeah, Mota. I forgot.
Okay, yeah.
I forget.
I'm not fighting males. Okay, that's a female.
No, it was in the past. I'm trying to remember what fighter for BYB fought Mota. I couldn't believe. I can't remember who it is.
It sounds so familiar. I almost feel like I should know.
Yeah, you and I both should. Chris Shaggy Gonzalez said, I let Helen at Biloxi in February. Oh, he met you in Biloxi in February.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, my friend, since, it's kind of weird, we're transitioning from show to show. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to a commercial break, but I'm actually going to pay BYB 28, the card that you're going to be on, and we'll be right back.
BYB Bare Knuckle hits the Big Easy for the first time Saturday, July 13th from the John A. Alario Event Center for BYB 28, Bourbon Street Brawl. Two of the biggest and baddest bare knuckle fighters in the world today go toe-to-toe inside the mighty Trigon as undefeated BYB heavyweight champion Hurricane Ike Villanueva takes on #1 contender, the Cuban assassin, Gustavo Trujillo, for both the BYB heavyweight belt and the historic Police Gazette World Diamond belt. Our co-main event, former BYB Lightweight champion Monica Medina gets her wish and steps into the Trigon against undefeated Helen Peralta for the inaugural BYB Featherweight World Championship. Catch these matches and more live. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
Man, that's one hell of a card. I noticed you didn't watch the commercial, but what are your thoughts when you do? Because I know you've seen it. What are your thoughts when you do see Medina? What goes through the mind of the Warrior Helen Peralta? I know what the men in the UFC and Bellator and all that think, but now the sport is changing, and the women are actually becoming more of my favorite aspect of the fighters. But what do you feel when you see that commercial? What does it do inside the heart of Helen Peralta?
It excites me. I like to, for example, if you accomplish something that anyone else can accomplish, it means nothing. So she is a warrior. She has some skills. Mostly that she stuff. I think for the next fight with me is not gonna work in her favor, but it's something to look forward to. So whenever I see it, I was like, especially if I'm training, when I see her on my way to the gym, I'm thinking, fuck that bitch. If I'm eating and I'm happy, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a great fight. So it all depends on where you catch me during the day. It changes.
Yeah. Brother of mine, Gordy Simpson I have a lot of Canadian fans. You're probably going to realize that. You probably realized at the last show you were on. Gordy Simpson says, "Summer salute, hurrah! Glad to tune in. Hi, Helen. Get you some, girl." I'm excited about this fight. It's the first time BYB's going into the Big Easy.
No lie.
Yeah. What does that mean for you? Because it's a party town. It's a tremendous town for fights. How did it make you feel when you found out you were going to be fighting on BYB 28? I mean, because this card's stacked.
It is stacked, but I also knew the location. It's New Orleans, and I'm also a professional chef, and their culinary. Oh my God, the culinary experience in New Orleans is amazing. So all I'm thinking is I should probably send a letter to every chef in town to let him know I'm going to be in town, because I'm about to eat everything after my fight. I think they deserve a heads up.
Yeah, I want. What are those things? What are they called? Beignets or what? It's like a funnel cake. What do they call them down there?
Funnel cake. I don't know. I stopped eating cakes. Because I don't know. I train. I'm built like a teenage boy. So if I train, I start getting muscle mass. So I don't eat bread now or cakes, even though I'm a pastry chef. But I stopped eating cake.
Yeah. Helen, I'm diabetic. I can't eat that crap either. But I've watched your walk. I've watched you grow. The maturity level is there. The IQ is there. Where does Helen need to be come BYB 28? Are you mentally prepared now? Are you ready to go now? Let's say the fight was to happen this weekend coming up. Are you ready to go?
Of course, but you know what? I noticed any fighter is ready to go weeks before the fight. What you need to be able to stomach is the actual date. Before the fight, anybody's able to go at any time. You go to the gym, you have a good day, you're probably ready to go in the parking lot before you get in your car after a 3-hour workout. It's just like, and that's the thing when it comes to martial arts. It's not about whether or not you can fight today or right now. It's about, can you meet that day? And on that day, can you be the best? And I'm making sure that I can be my best on that night. And that's all I need to worry about. I'm not just going to knock her down. Once she's down, she's not going to be able to get back up. And then when she can't get back up, after they finally get her back up on the show, I'm going to go and hug her because I think she's an amazing human being. But right now, she's in my way. And a lot of times, I'm a very nice person. I let a lot of people that were in my way get away with it because I felt like they needed it. But right now, I need it more than anybody else. I have no plan B. My back is against the wall. Anybody that's stopping me from getting what I want, you know, I'm sorry, but you brought that upon yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know, me and you, like I said earlier, we go back a ways. And for me, it was kind of a tremendous opportunity to see you transition into bare knuckle. Because I really feel that's where you're the best at. I mean, don't get mad at me for saying. I mean, I know you're great at MMA and other things, but
I agree with you.
You truly shine at bare knuckle. What is it in the heart of Helen Peralta that has you give 10 times more once you step into the trigon?
It's like I just really, you know, it's so intimate in a way. Like, yeah, of course you don't like the other person. Because if you like them, you're going to be trying to like hit them with a bag of bones in the face. But it's so intimate and it's so real, you know, in a world that is so full of like alternative media or facts and everybody, you know, everybody's so disconnected from everything else. When you're in there, you cannot afford to be anybody else but yourself. You cannot afford to lie to yourself because if you do, you're going to find out at the end when they wake you up and tell you where you're at. It's the realest place in the planet. And that is scary for most people. That's why some people need to go to therapy. That's my fucking therapy.
I love that. You know, I had John Bernard on last week, and some kind of craziness ensued on my show. We had another fighter that is homies with another fighter, and they kind of ganged up on him on the show. And, you know, and then they ultimately, John Bernard said, you know, I'll just drop down to 125 after I fight this fight, and I'll face you. What is it about this sport that thoroughly, because I've been in boxing, I've been in MMA, Muay Thai, and kickboxing, but I'm not going to lie, there's just something about bare knuckle that just gives that little extra twist for me. What is it for?
It's primal. That's what it is. Primal. It's fucking primal. When you're out there, like, you just know. Even when I was sparring, like last Sunday, I was sparring. I was a little tired, a little hangover. I'm sorry. And I was like trying to pace myself. I have to do 15 rounds. I'm on round 3. And I'm like trying to like save energy. And coach was like, oh, you would have lost that round if it was a real round. I was like, all right. So the next round, beat the shit out of the kid until he threw up. And he's like, oh. I was like, it's easy for me to like count on this giant fucking pillows. Like the other rounds, I was trying to pretend it was bare knuckle. And I was getting hit, you know, because they do have a bigger surface. So it doesn't translate very well. But that's the thing when it comes to bare knuckle. It's fucking primal. It's like, it brings you back to like the root of who you really are as a human being. And the fact that, hey, yeah, you want, this fucking guy. Yeah, you want, you know, you want someone that can be like able to deal with people, like, you know, like social and stuff like that. But if you don't have the ability to be violent, you're just harmless. And that shit is not a compliment. It's just not. Yeah. You don't want anybody that's harmless in your crew. You want people who are violent and know how to control it. And that's what bare knuckle is all about.
Hey, Helen, can you turn your porch light on?
Yeah, actually, where's my remote?
Yeah, because you got dark.
Boom. Is that good?
Oh, that's excellent.
I had a lie. I forgot to turn it on. I ate some edible earlier because I'm in pain and I forgot. There we go. Is that good?
That's all right. You know, Helen, what would you say would be the best tidbit that you took away from Invicta Fighting Championships and was able to transgress into BYB?
The best attribute?
Yeah.
I would say it was the ability to like know when to push the button. You know, when I first started working with Invicta FC and Shannon, I realized that all the fighters are in the same hotel. You know, you can't just be like all crazy all the time. You have to learn how to control your energy. And then you go from like, I want to kill her, just like, oh, we're in the same room, we're gonna take pictures. It's weird. So like I definitely took that into that. And just the ability to know when to push the button. Like the push, you don't have to be at 100% all the time. You just have to be at 100% when it matters.
Yeah, I love that. My brother Paul Driscoll, he's a big fan of Larry Holmes, but he's also a fan of yours. He says she's always ready. And she is. And that's what I love having her on the show. My brother Gordy, he says, me as a professional chef, awesome. He says, won't ever go hungry. You know, Another brother of mine, he's actually from the United States. He's from, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Jersey. Uh, Helen, success comes with ability, and a lot of people are starting to follow you. A lot of people are starting to pay attention to who you are. How hard is it for you to keep your mind focused, stay ready, and not worry so much about everything else that's around you?
It's actually not really hard. It's called "Do Not Disturb." It's a feature in everybody's phone. I have an iPhone. I put it on, and that's it. It's gone. I don't have a notification from any social media. If I want to know what's happening, I have to actually log in to find out what's happening. It doesn't disturb me at all because I know, like, the outside, it doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. Most people, they look at what you're doing at the moment, and then they will move on to another one of their insecurities within 5 seconds. So why pay attention to that? That shit don't matter. Focus on yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, your phone's getting a little bit blurry. Is there any way we could kind of fix that?
Okay, let me clean it. Maybe it's sweaty. Did that help?
I think it's a signal. I think it's the Wi-Fi.
Oh, well, I can't help that. I have to go to the
Yeah.
satellite, come back.
Hey, we're good. We're just gonna make it happen.
I'm so
Steve
pretty,
Schroeder.
girl, probably.
Yeah, right. Steve Schroeder wants to know what state is Helen from?
I was born in Dominican Republic by way of New York City. And
Is that
right
where you
now
still live
I
now in
am
New
in
York?
Illinois. Right now I'm in Illinois.
Oh, you're not that far from me.
No.
You're only about 4 hours from me. That's not too bad at all. How far are you out of
No,
Kansas City?
probably about 4 hours. Yeah, about three and a
Yeah.
half to 4 hours. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was just up in Marine, Illinois, and that's when I went to Matt Hughes' 50th birthday party. He lives up in Marine, Illinois. Just as soon as you get over the Illinois border on the east side, it's just nothing but cornfields. Is it that way where you're at?
There's not much of anything. It's mostly concrete and very manicured yards. But yeah, I want to get away from that. I need to be more in nature. That's probably gonna
Yeah,
change soon.
that's why I came to Missouri. I live in the sticks. I came from the West Coast because I actually came to visit, but then I fell in love with this place and I never wanted to go back, and I stayed here, and I still love living by the cows. It's the best place to be. Helen, this is probably going to be I would say the second biggest fight of your career. How much emphasis will you put on yourself? Because we have just a little over, I think about a month and 8 days, something like that. When does Helen start breaking down her camp, and when do you start shutting off the world, preparing for Medina?
Well, I shut off the world about a year ago. I'm pretty sure people who are close to me have noticed that. Just don't give a shit anymore. I realized, like, it's all noise. People are just
Well, why is that?
now. I don't know. I think we're like so distracted. It might have something to do with technology. People have so short attention span and their morals. Most people have, dude. Most people have the moral complex of a fucking eclair, and I just can't relate to that. So I kind of just like retrieve into myself. So I don't have to disconnect from the world. I'm already disconnected. when I started thinking about Medina, I don't know, I think it was sometime in December 2023 when she decided to mention my name. And I think she's really cool and all of that. But like right now, she's just an obstacle in the way. It's just, that's what I'm focusing on right now. I don't have anything else going on. I don't do anything. I don't go out. I just stay home. Sometimes I have a few drinks, but I still have it in my home. So it's like she's got my full attention. So I don't have to change anything to focus on her.
Yeah. Since Invicta, you've been with a couple different promotions. What would you say would be the attribute that you most defined since you left Invicta and came to BYB?
Mm, I mean, even when I was in Invicta, that's when I learned what it felt like to be taken care of. Like there was one day I was in the elevator and I saw some of the executive. I'm not going to mention name. And like, how you doing, Helen? I was like, I don't know. And they were like really concerned. Like, what do you need? Like, I was like, no, I was just joking. I did not know they care so much. In BYB, actually, I felt the same way. Like, I felt like I was taken care of too. So I feel like I moved into, it was a good, very smooth transition.
Yeah, I worked for the other bare knuckle promotion, didn't care for them. I got an opportunity to meet Mike, and I don't know, it was almost like I found a brother that I didn't know I had my whole life. Mike is probably one of the most respectful, real people I've ever met. What what is it about this promotion that has Helen Peralta wanting to become the world champion? And I'm going to ask you something too, because I read earlier that there was a statement put out that after you win this belt, that you're thinking about going to another weight class and trying to win another world title. What is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I love food. I'm a professional chef. I like eating, and I also don't, like when it comes to mixed martial arts, I understand that weight does matter because you literally have to carry your opponent's weight on you if they're a wrestler, right? So weight
Yeah.
does matter, and you have to stay in your weight class, stay in your lane, because otherwise you're giving your opponent an advantage. When it comes to boxing and bare knuckle boxing, weight is not that much of an issue, especially when it's under 135. So yeah, I will never go back down to 115. Like I when I count, I always keep 15. I go from 14 to 16. I hate that weight class because of what I did to my body. It was just so hard. But yeah, I might go up. It depends on how everything goes. But I watched both Patty and my opponent because they fought 3 times. So I had a very good front row seat to what those two divisions have to offer. So after this fight, if it goes really smooth, then I'm like, I have no other choice but to go up because at the same time, like, what else am I doing this for? I want to like make an impact, and I like taking risks. Like if something seems easy, I'd rather not do it because I probably won't accomplish it because I wouldn't put the right amount of attention. If something seems hard, I'm more likely to give it my all. So after this fight, if everything goes according to plan, which is what I'm obviously preparing for, then I am looking at the 135-pound division. I'm not very girly, but I think my girliest attribute is my love for shiny shit.
Yeah.
So you might see me at 135.
I feel you there. She likes shiny shit. If you didn't catch that, people, I caught it. I'm just making sure everybody else caught it. Anthony Cruz says Helen Peralta is simply the best. What would you like to say to these people because they believe in you? They see what I see in you. They see what Mike and Mel and BYB sees in you. I remember for a moment there, you know, Helen was pretty much a quiet person, kept to herself, didn't even really formulate anything at Invicta, and then you kind of opened up. And now, since you're at BYB, you seem more personable. You seem happier. What transition made that difference?
Time, as you get older, you start realizing what really matters. Like before, I've always been the same person, but I kept to myself a lot. But when it comes to like building your brand in social media as a female fighter, you either showing your tits and your ass, or you have to find another way. So I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. although they're really good looking to be honest. Putting that out there. But like, it's not my style. So I decided, I'm like, oh, I have to do something because, for the majority, now the true fans know who to follow. But the majority, like the casuals, they're about 98% of the people that do anything on social media, because that's what their whole life is all about. So you have to find a way to engage them. And I decided that I wanted to engage them with my personality. So I decided to just come out a little bit more.
Yeah, because you used to be really, really quiet. I love the Helen that's in front of me today. If you people would have met her when I met her, she wouldn't even have talked to you. She'd have told you to fuck off. I'm not lying. I mean, I think the first time I met you, you just ignored me, looked at me, and just walked down the hall. And I was like,
I think I did that, actually, to be honest. I think that's exactly what I did. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And Anthony Cruz says, time is definitely your best friend to mature. It really is. I used to be the biggest prick in the world. And in June, well, the 23rd of this month, I'll be 62. I'm so damn chill now. Before, I don't know, just, man, the wind would blow crooked and I would want to fight. Now I'm just like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't even want any of that anymore. But what I'm finding out is the things that I appreciate in life the most. And, when I had Cub Hawkins on the show, he kind of reminds me a lot of a young Helen Peralta. He doesn't talk to anybody. He stays away from everybody. And so we got to talking about it on the show. And so we kind of compared him to Hagler because, Hagler did the same thing in the boxing world. He would come to an event. He wouldn't sit by anybody. He stayed by himself. And so I asked Cub that night, I said, why do you do this? He said, because you're here to take my head off in front of my wife, in front of my family, in front of my kid. He says, there's no reason why I should like you. You're here to take my fucking head off, so I'm here to take your fucking head off. And then, I sat there and thought about it that night, and you were the first person that came to mind because that's exactly who Helen Peralta is. She shows up. She doesn't say much to anybody, but when she steps in the ring, it's a whole new ball game. Who is the person behind the mentoring of Helen Peralta? Who built the Warrior in front of me?
I would say life. I had a very tough life and still going on. There's still a lot of shit going on right now that I don't care to get into, but it's been life. Like, life's kicked my ass so many times. I had no other choice but to become a warrior.
Yeah. Well, my friend, you're making a huge statement in BYB. July isn't that far away, and I know you've wanted this fight. I've seen that other interview. I like Medina. I'm not going to talk shit because I do like Medina.
Me too. I like her too.
And I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. But at the end of the day, I always go with the person that has the most experience, the person that's been at the deep end of the pool, and you've been there. So if you had some wise words, okay, let's put it a different way. Today's face-offs, I'm Medina. I'm standing in front of you. What do you got to say to me, homie?
After the fight, please do not get sad. Ice, lots of ice. Just use a lot of ice. Make sure you recover so you can get another shot in the future. You're welcome.
I love it. Please don't go a trilogy with Medina. I don't want to see another trilogy. I don't, homie. I like your style, and thank you for beating Christine Ferrer. I just cannot stand that bitch. I'm sorry. I just cannot stand her.
Oh my God, me neither. She's got two cockroaches playing ping pong in her brain, and I think one of them is on crack.
Right. And I think Jules Gray only owns one dress, that black dress. I don't mean. Well, if you ever had.
You got me there.
Well, it's the truth. It's not a lie either. I mean, am I lying? You gonna spit her soda up?
No, I mean, she's definitely different. But you know what? I actually had this like video come up on my YouTube suggestion that says like being ignorant can make you great because you don't know shit about nothing. You can just focus
Yeah.
on one thing and that's enough for you. So that was, that still keeps her dangerous, and I have a lot of respect for her. As a
Yeah.
fighter, as a person, it's just like, dude, Frankenstein job. That's
Hey,
fine.
well, you seen the pictures that we put up with Christine Ferreira try to go into the ring and call out Cyborg. She looked like a damn 90-year-old woman compared to Cyborg. And
I
I
know
mean,
what she's on, but you need to drop that shit because your skin shows it.
yeah, well, Cyborg will piece her up anyway. She doesn't stand a chance in hell. The only one I think that would even have a remote chance would be you with Cyborg,
No,
and
no,
that
no.
would be a good
Cyber, no,
fight.
don't do that. Tell you we were friends.
We are
No,
friends.
Cyber, please don't hit me. You gotta
Actually,
know.
she,
You gotta know where you stand. Cyber, she's just fucking huge. Like you gotta know. Like
yeah,
there's a difference between trying to make a joke and like trying to make a real fight. Like the only reason why Cyber entertained it is because Cyber will entertain anything. Whoever's handling her page. That's why I
yeah,
seen some pictures of Cyber in like two tops, and I was like, no, that's not what I want to see. So she's not handling her own page. So whoever is doing it, they were entertaining it, but it was just for likes and views and shit like that. It's not
yeah.
real. It's
Yeah,
not what it is.
she's my homie though. She just sent me a thing because she's getting ready to box, and she sent me a thing to come to her camp and everything. But I I don't know. I'm stuck with bare knuckle now. I mean, my days in boxing are over. My days in MMA are over, and Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu. This bare knuckle thing has just I don't know. It was Tenori and Mark Irwin, like I told you before, that really I loved it, but they really drugged me into it because to watch two men damn near kill each other and one refusing to give up his belt, the other refusing to fall down. It was just a beautiful situation, and I just completely became engulfed with bare knuckle. You know, I don't think there's another sport that gives me as much adrenaline as bare knuckle. And I talked to Jamie Driver. She was on my show just, I guess, about a week and a half ago. So I'm going to ask you because you're another female from our promotion. She says it's hard as hell to eat after a fight. She said you don't feel it during the fight, but after the fight, the first few days, the jaw gets a little stiff and it's a little hard to eat. How does it play out for Helen Peralta after a fight?
I guess these bitches have not gotten that close because like even when I told Christine, the only thing I did feel is like one of my eyes was like really fucked up. It was like hamburger meat, but I was like I can still put a patch over it and still eat my enchiladas and all my spicy tacos. Like nothing changed, and it's superficial damage. That's what people don't understand. Like yeah, bare knuckle is primal, which is why you're addicted to it because it just feels so real because it is. There's no way out. You can't like choreograph it. It is what it is. But at the same time, most of the damage is superficial. That's why like we can like come back, after a month and still be okay. But when you're like boxing with gloves, for example, your corner doesn't know when you had enough because you don't have any cuts and stuff. But hey, you might have a blade bleeding and now you're a vegetable. Like it's different. It's a different situation. But for me, I have not had any issues when it comes to striking about like any actual pain. Even in MMA, most people just wanted to hump my legs for 15 minutes. So I haven't gotten hit that often. So I guess ask me that question in 1 or 2 more years, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel you about MMA, and you know what? I think bare knuckle really did help me in that regard because I love boxing. I've been in boxing for 40 years, but MMA paid the bills. But then when I came back to bare knuckle, it was like I don't really like you said, the humping the leg. The sitting there and two grown people hugging each other on the ground for 30 minutes. That's not a fight. But
That's something you keep in the bathroom. I mean, it's fun. I love doing that all the time. Like a little bit of aggression. Like who's gonna win? But like I do that at
yeah,
home. I don't do that on TV.
Yeah, it's not. No, I just love this organization. I don't plan on going anywhere. If I ever get fired, I'm just going to retire from the sport because Mike and Alex and Greg and this whole organization is just tremendous. They truly. I know how they treat me, and I see how they treat the fighters. And I'm gonna let people know this since now we became the largest bare knuckle corporation company in the world. Have you ever been treated as well as from another promotion like BYB treats you?
To be honest, not necessarily. No, like
No.
there's an understanding. Like every now and then, of course, I'm a fighter. I'm a knucklehead. I want to do whatever the fuck I want to do, And then you have the big brother telling you what to do. But even in those situations, we always find common grounds, and they always do their best to accommodate what I want to do. So, as far as that, it's being tremendous. They always have my back, even when I'm mad. So
That's
yeah,
dope.
so we're doing good, and I am so glad that I decided to sign up with them because they're solid, and I think they're gonna make a big difference because they're focusing more on quality than quantity and like names and shit like that. They're just letting things develop how they develop. They put people together. Whoever wins wins. We don't have necessarily a favorite. We're not making somebody more comfortable than the other. It is what it is. It's a fight. And it's like very fair grounds, and I like that because I wouldn't
Well,
want to feel like somebody's giving me an upper hand, and I also wouldn't want to feel like somebody's giving my opponent an upper hand because that's even worse. So it's even ground. So I like all of it, and I like how many people they're signing and how far they're reaching. It's gonna be great pretty soon.
yeah. Well, you bring up a tremendous point because, like I said, I just had Mike Vasquez and Greg Bloom on my show, and even Mike said, a lot of the betting organizations that take our odds, they're like this. All of our fights are like this. They may be a little bit, one higher than the other, but they're pretty much basically
Even.
even. And if you look at any other promotion, it's not that way. It's like this. And I think Mel was doing a hell of a job. Since December of last year with the Tenori Irwin fight. I mean, the man has been on fire. Now we got you coming up next month with Medina and the Cuban Assassin is going to be on that. I mean, that card, both cards are just stacked back to back. Um, Man, I'm gonna have to go to New Orleans to come see you. I'll miss out.
You
Yeah,
do it.
well,
Do it, bro.
yeah,
I mean,
I
worst case
am.
scenario, you had the best gumbo you ever had. Worst case scenario.
Well, oh yeah. No, I already eat gumbo, but I get my cervical spine operated on this month, so I think I should be all right by the time your fight happens. So I think that'll be good. We're gonna go to one more commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna wrap things up with the one and only Helen Peralta.
BYB Bare Knuckle hits the Big Easy for the first time Saturday, July 13th from the John A. Alario Event Center for BYB 28 Bourbon Street Brawl. Two of the biggest and baddest bare knuckle fighters in the world today go toe-to-toe inside the mighty Trigon as undefeated BYB heavyweight champion Hurricane Ike Villanueva takes on number one contender, the Cuban Assassin, Gustavo Trujillo, for both the BYB heavyweight belt and the historic Police Gazette World Diamond belt. Our co-main event, former BYB Lightweight champion Monica Medina gets her wish and steps into the Trigon against undefeated Helen Peralta for the inaugural BYB Featherweight World Championship. Catch these matches and more live. Visit BYBExtreme.com for tickets and information.
Oh, go back.
I'm so stoked. I just love that because the undefeated Helen Peralta. Isn't that just music to the ears?
A little bit. I want to change that. I want somebody to try to kick my ass for real. Because, like, life is so short. Life kicks my ass all the time. So I'm not undefeated. Trust me. I lost so many times the last couple of weeks. It's just not broadcast. That's the only difference. I don't care. I don't care about that kind of titles because it all depends. Like even when you were talking about how the odds changes and how some other promotions might have more knockouts and more action. It's like, yeah, you have more knockouts if you put together uneven fights. If it was someone who's here versus someone who's over here, yeah, you're gonna have an amazing finish, and it's gonna look great for pictures and social media, which seems to be what everybody cares about. But that's not true. That's not reality, and that's what I like about BYB. They're focusing on that.
Yeah, I love that part of BYB. Nate Wren says, I'm really enjoying this show. Appreciate you, brother. He's down in Mexico right now. So he says, enjoying watching Peralta. My favorite fight was when she beat Christine Ferrer. That's still my favorite fight. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was so glad when you kicked her ass. Gordy says, very professional company in my eyes. This is truly the best of the best. Best move you have ever made, Don. You got the bone, D-Dog. Don't let it go. Love you, D-Dog. Well, because, Helen, you know me. I never signed with one promotion permanently. I would, take a 3-4 fight deal and then move on to the next promotion. And, other than Invicta, I think I started at Invicta 1 and ended at Invicta 35. I don't think I ever stayed at another promotion other than the UFC longer than I did Invicta. What is it about BYB that made you call this place home?
It was just like the I don't know. It just felt like a promised land in a different way. Like I get a lot of promises all the time, but I always feel so empty. And I was kind of after the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't know I became a free agent. I didn't know where to pull the trigger. And I was just like hesitant about it. And BYB had contacted me in the past, but I was just like, I wasn't sure. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, I started talking to Mel and, I started paying more attention. And I started looking at everything from the outside. Like I retreated from social media. I mean, I was still watching, but I wasn't like logged on. And I was just started to pay more attention. And I just felt like, okay, if I'm going to have to make a decision on where, like, you have to pick a home. When you get comfortable, like when you're at the beginning, you can be for everybody. But at a certain point, you have to choose one promoter, right? And then so when I got to that point, I was like, this decision became more important than ever. And I was like, I can't make a mistake right now. I have to be very strategic. And it can't be just about money. Because like, for all the promotion, it would be like double for my first fight. But I was like, I don't know that I agree with the morals and the ethics of this promotion. So then I decided to go with BYB. It was the right call, and I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah, see, you're like me. BKFC hired me at BKFC 1, then they ripped me off, and then later on they brought me down to Jackson, Mississippi, and tried to give me a site coordinator's position, and I didn't want nothing to do with them. And ironically, I don't even know how I ran into Mike Vasquez, other than God, or just fate. But what I found in Mike was one of the truest, most sincere people I've ever met in the sport of combat, and I don't do handshake deals with people, but I did with BYB. And if that doesn't tell people how legit, how real this promotion is, then I'm not going to waste my breath on them if they're that fucking stupid. We're talking about the combat sports industry, and I did a deal with a promotion on a handshake. That's how loyal and how real Mike Vasquez is. You don't even have to ask to get paid. You get paid before it's even time to get paid. And I see the way he treats the fighters. I've never seen a promotion set up a buffet line after weigh-ins or feed the fighters like they do, or give you guys opportunity for transportation to come early, to stay late. There's just so many things about this man. I think it's because he's a Cuban immigrant, that he understands struggle, that he understands what the fighters have to go through to become something. And that's why I respect the man. Why does Helen Peralta respect Mike Vasquez?
Well, it's not just the fact that you're an immigrant. Of course, if you're an immigrant, I grew up in a third world country, you understand the struggle. But he's coming into a sport that had to do with violence. And when you grow up the way we grew up, you understand the reality of violence. And you start to appreciate it more for those who decide to do that on their own, by choice, on a contract, on a platform with consent.
Yeah. Helen, we're getting right at an hour. I always have fun with you on the show, and I know it's a little bit later for you, but what would you like to say to the fans of the sport? Because like I said at my National Boxing Hall of Fame induction, if it wasn't for the fans, there would be no me, there would be no fighters. So what would you like to say to the fans foremost about believing in you, giving you the opportunity, and buying those tickets to come see you fight? Because, like I said, without the fans, we wouldn't have a sport.
So I guess to the fans, I would just say, I appreciate the intention, the attention. Definitely, that's when it comes to like being a fighter nowadays. All had to do with like views and likes and all this shit. And even though I don't give a fuck about any of that, I have 7.5 followers, and I think like 5 of those are my friends. To be honest, they're like close friends. But all that stuff is important. So yeah, follow all my crap on whatever crap is Helen Peralta, whatever. You figure it out if you really want to find it. But also, like, don't look up to anybody. Don't let your heroes be your age, because you will be disappointed. So look at someone else that you admire. Look at the things that you admire about them, and try to do that for yourself. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Gordy says, beautifully said, Helen, beautifully said. That's why I've always liked you, homie. You're the only person that I know that says exactly what's on her mind and don't care who's around. You're going to say what you got to say, and you're going to be what you got to be. There's not very many people left in this industry like you. You do what you got to do. You say what you got to say, but you back it up. And I think that's what I appreciate about you the most. What would you like to tell the fans of New Orleans about what can they expect when BYB rolls into town from Helen Peralta?
Well, they can expect is fireworks. And if you are a little bit more in tune with who you are as a person, you're going to get more than what you see at a gross level. At a gross level, it's just a bunch of knuckleheads punching each other in the face and bleeding. But if you have any idea of who you are, like if you're connected and actually spiritually healthy, I don't mean following a religion. That's not following a religion. It's not a spiritual health. That's just propaganda. But if you're spiritually healthy, when you get in there, you're going to realize how much people actually put on the line. And being there live, you can understand it's nothing to do with the actual punches. It's something to do with something that's way bigger than ourselves. And you will feel it if you come in.
Yeah. Brian Halderson says, the promoters seem to keep their word. My bet is with Helen. Yeah. Hey, Monica, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be biased, but...
A smart man.
Nate Wren says, I like Peralta a million times more than the overhyped Christine Ferrer. Nate's actually the one that took the pictures when Christine stepped in the ring and tried to confront Cyborg. This kid's tremendous, though, Helen. He just went into his first Hall of Fame. He's only 33 years old. I've been working with the kid a little over 6 years. He's tremendously talented. I just taught him not to make mistakes. He did the rest on his own. And then in September, he goes into another Hall of Fame. So I've never met a kid at 33 years old that's a 2-time Hall of Famer. So the kid better beat me. That's one thing I like about life. Well, if I take my time and show you not to make the mistakes that I did, and how to network and do the things. Nate's a tremendous young, talented man. At 33, if he's already a 2-time Hall of Famer, and I'm going to be 62, then he damn well better beat me. He damn well better beat me. Helen, what would it mean? It's going to be my last question, homie. What would it mean for you to hold that belt? Truly, just have that belt around your waist and just look at that belt. What will it truly mean to you if you beat Medina and become the BYB Featherweight champion of the world?
Whether I'm holding the belt or not, for me, it will mean that the universe tends to unfold as they should.
Yeah, I like that. That's one thing I love having you on the show. I was sitting there the other day and I said, I got to have Helen on, because we started talking about doing 28 and 29. And I was like, I got to have Helen on because I saw you on that other show Medina, I'll tell you what, you better watch the right cross and the right upper because you gotta get it. You know, I'm proud of you, homie, because unlike Mike and Mel and all these other people, I've actually watched you come up in this sport. I've actually watched you progress and become the person you are. And I'll tell you what, I'm proud of you. You know, and if they want to call me biased and get mad at me, I mean, I can't help but be proud of you. I've watched your work ethic increase. I've watched how you've always been in the gym. I watched the time that you put in promotions. And now you get an opportunity to get what you worked so hard for. Where does that sit in not only in your heart, but in the heart of your family?
Well, that I couldn't answer that. In my heart, it means a lot because it's just like it's not even like it's gonna change anything I'm doing. It's just like a little check mark, you know. It's just like, oh yeah, you're on the right path. It's just like you're going where you're supposed to be going, and because there's so much more happening after July 13. Like July 13, I get the title, but that's not the end goal. There's so
No.
much more to come after that. So like for me, I like to think about it like yeah, once I get the title, it's great, but like I'm not gonna rest there because that's not the end goal. The end goal is so much
Yeah.
more than that. I want to be the best that I can be. Not necessarily means like I'm gonna win all the fights, but I'm gonna make sure that I show up, and I'm gonna make sure that I let people know that no matter what the fuck you're going through, if you don't fight back, you're already lost. You just gotta
Yeah.
fight back. You don't gotta win, but you gotta fucking fight back, and that's what I want to show.
I appreciate you, homie. I love it because you've always said it like it is. You don't give two fucks. You're gonna say it like it is. I wish there was more people like you. This sport actually needs more people like you. You know, don't sugarcoat shit. Just tell it like it is. You know, it's a whole lot better that way. Like I always tell people, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember the lie. Well,
Yeah,
with Helen,
that's true.
Nate Wren says Helen Peralta is one of my all-time favorites. She's so damn criminally underrated.
Criminally underrated.
uh, he says, Gordy says, stay true to you. Lightning strikes hard. Go get some. Simmer salute. And then he says, hurrah, amiga. You know, my friend, go out there and show the world. I'm gonna try to come down for this one because I gotta see this, man. I can't miss this. I'm gonna have to fight with Mike to come see this, but man, go show the world what you've worked so hard for, Helen. You
That's
know,
that's my aim on this fight because I have some losses in all my fight, and even some of those fights I know I won, but I got a loss because it went to decision. But it should not have gone to decision. I never actually
yeah,
shown the world who I am. I always hold back because I come from a place where you always have to hold back. And now I found myself with my back against the wall, and I can't hold back because I don't have any other choice. So this is gonna be different.
yeah. Well, I'm
Mark
proud
my
of you,
words.
homie. Oh, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of how far you've come and the accomplishments that you've created. You know, a lot of people really don't know you like I do, but to the people listening, trust me, she did this by herself. I mean, yeah, she had others help her, but Helen is a, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but she's kind of introverted like me. She can shut off the world and just be as happy with herself
Hmm.
as if she had 1,000 people around her. And that's the best way to be because they hate you in the beginning of the sport, they hate you in the middle of the sport, and they sure as hell hate you at the end
A
of the
hundred
sport.
percent, they help you at the end. No matter if you can be undefeated, Khabib, John Jones. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be at the top of anybody. You can be at the very top, and people are always just waiting. They're only watching you because they want you to fail, because they want an excuse why they suck. They want an excuse of why they suck. So they're always looking at you, waiting for you to make a mistake, and it's not a reflection of you. So like if you gave it your all and you didn't make it where you wanted to go, please don't be down on yourself. Just keep going, because the people that are gonna try to mock you for it is the people who are not doing anything. They
Yeah,
wanted you to fail so they can excuse themselves for why they don't accomplish anything in their life or even try.
I like that because if they were to take the energy that they used hating you and put it into themselves, then they could be you.
They
But
could
they're
be
not.
something Even better,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
that fear of the unknown, the fear of taking risk. Like the fear of risk is the only thing that keep people from not moving within 50 miles for when they were born. Wherever they were born, within 50 miles, they don't fucking leave because they don't know what's on the unknown. And the people who don't take any risk, like literally, we're going out there and like in MMA, we're literally fighting people in our underwears, pretty much, in front of the world. If I have a bad day at work, and you found out about it, don't make a meme out of it, dude. When you have a bad day at work, you want to know why we don't know about it? Because it doesn't matter. Because you don't matter. So how about you start using that energy and try to matter, and then come at me?
Right. Nate Ren says, looking forward to getting a Peralta shirt. Bro, I'll see if we have them. I know they're trying to. I don't know if Helen has her own, but I know with BYB they're trying to correlate things. You see how they're doing the posters and things like
Yeah,
that
I
now?
saw that. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I seen some of it from
Yeah.
when I was there in February. It was really cool.
Yeah, my boy Steve out of Florida is doing that, and I just like this promotion because they just want to be different than everybody else. They just want to do their own thing and succeed, and I just love it, man. The only thing that I gotta watch is those Cubano coffees. Those Cubano coffees, Jack. And you know what
No,
I'm talking about.
I had two and
Oh,
I was like shaking in place. I was like, I don't know. Like I wanted to go and slow down at the same time. It was crazy.
well, shit, they gave me a half a cup with about that much in there.
And you were probably thirsty. Oh no.
Oh yeah, I drank it. I was like, what the? My homie Brian says, make every day a plus. Fuck the rest. And Nate Wren said, I made so many Christine Ferrer memes when she tried to. Oh, bro, he could say it because he was there. He actually shot Cyborg's fight. Um, here's my dude, John Bernard. Let's go. He's fighting on 27. He'll be fighting on
Oh
the
yeah,
14th
before
of this
me.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, John, I love the video work you did, man. Go out there, my guy, and show the world who you truly are, brother. You're a tremendous young man, and I even appreciate the person you are more than the fighter, but you're one hell of a fighter, young man. He said the 14th, yeah. He's a great dude. You'd really like him, man. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. You have a good night, homie.
I'll look him up after the interview, especially if his fight is already in the promotion. Like, why not? That's the
He's a
good thing
great
about
dude.
martial arts. You get to meet so many cool people.
Yeah. He was on my show, and I'm not going to mention any names. Come like you, I don't want to keep it going, but someone came on and started talking crap, trying to protect one of their brothers, but he's a fighter too. It is. So John just finally had enough of it. Said, "Well, when I'm done at 135, I'll just drop down to 125 and come see you." What could you really say to
Okay.
that? What could you really say to that, man? I gotta love the guy. Oh, he said he'll be tuning into your fight, and he said, "Best of luck."
Yeah, I would say best of luck to you too, but it's not about luck. I know you got this.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's the body killer. That man loves it. Hey, them body shots. Like you could hit me in the head, but you're not gonna hit me in the body like John does. John goes crazy.
Jeez. I
Yeah.
love those. I started experimenting with those. Like I dropped two people last Sunday because I was hangover and tired and I was lazy. But it was just to the body. It wasn't even to the head because the guys are too big. And everybody protect their head, but like their body, like sometimes you just kind of open. So it's like one of those things I'm working on now.
John said to tell you best of luck in your fight. So this is what I love about BYB. All the fighters come on here, they usually correlate with each other and nobody has any problems. And I've never seen that from any other promotion. Fighters in the same promotion come support each other on a podcast. That's pretty damn cool. But I really like John Bernard. I think you'll like him too, Helen. Uh, Nate, this better be good. A Helen Peralta face stare down will never stop being priceless. Nate, quit being silly. Before we go, I'd like to call this the second coming of Helen Peralta. The return. And let's say you had to open up that book to the second chapter, and you had to put maybe a word, a sentence, or a paragraph. What would that statement say, my friend?
It would say, shit's about to get real. Because you know, if you're gonna use only one catchphrase, you gotta make sure that the millennials can relate to it. So shit's about to get real. That's it.
I love it. My friend, I'm gonna hand the mic to you. Any friends, family, social media sites, or whatever you want to share? The floor is yours. But before I do, I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Go out there and show the world what I see in Helen Peralta. I mean, you're a devastating young lady and a hell of a warrior. And man, I believe in you, my friend. With that being
Yeah.
said, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. You know, shout out to anybody who cares whether I succeed or not. It's only to the ones that care that I succeed. If you like, you know, because a lot of people are shy, especially my real people. They're not on social media, which is why you don't see much going on my page. Like the people that I really connect with, they're not on social media, because I wouldn't be if it wasn't for because I fight, because I kind of have to. But anyone that has sent like good intentions my way, like good vibes, like I hope she wins, you know, shout out to you. Definitely shout out to my work family at Ye Olde Pub. Those guys are awesome. They had my back when I needed them, and I wasn't even expecting that, because I don't expect much from people, because most people suck. And of course, shout out to all my training partners and coaches at Northern Illinois Combat Club.
Yeah. And I can't wait, Helen. I'm going to try to make it there if I'm able to. Jeff Wagner, a good friend of mine, UFC coach, and he says Helen is a very marketable fighter. See, I'm not the only one that thinks so. Helen, I've always believed in you, homie. You know that. Go out there and show the world. Was it July 13th?
July 13th.
July 13th, New Orleans, Louisiana. Go, hey man. I could say something, but it won't come out right. But go make the world proud. Go show the world why BYB believes so much in you, Helen, and why I believe so much in you. You truly are a tremendous, tremendous aspect to the sport. Before we go, John Bernard says, what are your goals in the sport?
My goal in the sport is just like hit him with some good shit and not get hit. But in reality, I just want little girls to know, especially you. I only noticed this during Halloween. You have like the sexy nurse and the sexy whatever, which the sexy everything. I just want girls to know that you don't have to show your ass to accomplish where you want to go. It's great that we have that power. And I am so glad that we do, because it's helped me too. But you don't have to rely on that. You can be whoever the fuck you want to be if you commit to that.
Yeah. And he also wants to say, what is the most gratifying aspect you take away from being a fighter? What has been your most rewarding moment in your entire combat sports career thus far?
My most rewarding moment would have been when I made people that I care about proud. It wasn't even about me. Like I don't have to go into an event to have a fight. I fight every fucking day. Like my life usually is not that glamorous. So I fight every single fucking day of my life. But there's been times where I go out there and I do something great. And watching what it does for the people who care about me and the people who believe in me, it literally like makes me happier than my own accomplishments. So it's kind of like a selfless thing, because in reality, like I don't have to win the fights in front of the light to feel accomplished for myself, because it just doesn't do it for me. But knowing that that's important to other people, then yeah, it is what it is. For me, I'm just there because I like beating people up. And if you're going to play a song when I'm walking out and you're going to pay me at the end, that's a plus.
Yeah. Homie, I'm so proud of you. Keep showing everybody who you truly are and why you're really here. And you're just getting started. With that being said, like I said, man, go make me proud. Go make the promotion proud, homie.
Let's go.
I appreciate you. Let's go.
Oh, wait. Shout out to my #1 fan. I know she really appreciates me. She really cares about me. She's probably watching this interview. Monica Medina, I really appreciate you. I know you're my #1 fan, and I know you're watching, and nothing but love for you. And, you know, I'll see you July 13th.
Bring that. Oh, amen. Bring that $1,000 in pennies.
Yeah, so I can make it rain at the strip club afterwards.
Right?
The only way I can make it rain right now.
Oh, I'm dying. John started laughing too. Well, homie, thank you so much for blessing my listeners and my show. I can't wait to have you on again. Hell, maybe we'll have you on again before your fight. Just because we can.
Yeah, I love talking to you. Have a good night. Thank you to anybody that tuned in, and I'll see you guys. I'm working my ass off, and right now I don't have any other choice. So it's gonna be a great fight. Win or lose, I always handle myself the same way. But I don't know. I just have this feeling like it's not gonna go past the third round. So look out for that if you're a betting person.
Hey, I like that. I might have to go bet on that. I love me some Helen Peralta. So thank you so much, homie. God bless you. And we'll be talking. I'll tag you in this hard video too. You too. I'll tag you in the hard video, homie. All right?
Okay, bye.
All right,
Good night.
bye-bye. Man, I love me some Helen Peralta. She's great. I tell you what, Monica Medina ain't no joke. She's got her hands full. It's going to be one hell of a fight. Mel Valenzuela is just killing it on the matchmaking. Hey, bruh, I love you too, homie. You have a good one. Let's get it, man. Go do you, bro. Go show the world why you're here. On that note, have a good night. God bless.